Good, whatever time of the day it is you are listening to us. This is the PNA Podcast Express Quick Trip for the week, coming to you live. Well, we are live. The show won't be live. You'll hear it on Thursday. We are at the Silver Tavern in Deckerville, the old STD, Silver Tavern, Deckerville. He's Adam Filkins. I'm Phil Nickel. Thanks for listening. If you're hearing me right now, what say you, Adam?
I say yes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here on Saturday, if you were.
Yeah.
Hopefully, thank you for coming to our next live broadcast, which we will work greatly to improve. I believe I've already got a few things figured out.
Okay.
A few major things figured out.
Which is good. That's awesome.
Yes, and it will be a vast improvement over our last one as far as the live audio goes. So.
Yeah, the audio, our microphones might be too good, so we might have to streamline it a little bit, but we'll come up with something. We'll use all that money we're getting from our sponsors to buy some new equipment and go from there.
So we'll go on our own and buy equipment is what you're saying.
So it'll go on Phil's credit card, yes.
Yes. I'll kick in, too.
I know, you do. We've actually split this pretty evenly as far as the equipment.
We do. Because neither one of us are affluent enough to just run with it on our own, so we have to lean on each other.
And we were hoping maybe someday it would bring some income.
So I'm going to reach out as...
Don't forget our Steve Gutenberg GoFundMe. If someone hasn't started that yet,
Steve
please.
Gutenberg GoFundMe. I expect to see that tagged on our Facebook page later or our Instagram.
Yes.
Whichever you prefer.
We are on the gram.
But I'd like to reach out to Bill Gates' soon-to-be ex-wife, who will have a lot of disposable income.
And you know that everybody's trying to jump in her DMs right now.
Oh, yeah. It's... I've heard speculation that she'll get about $50 billion.
That's it?
Out of the deal.
Just 50 with a B billion? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
So she'll have to cut back to her lifestyle quite a bit. But she could really increase our lifestyle without affecting hers.
And, she could just send us $500,000, which would be nothing.
She could send us $500 million, which would be nothing to her.
She could send us $5.
Yeah. If you'd like us to say 50 words in any particular...
We get to choose the order. You give us the words. We'll say them in our order.
So, go
You know what grinds my gears? The fact that somebody can have $50 billion on this earth.
Yeah.
What the fucking shit is that?
But, I mean, on the same token, if they made it by whatever despicable means they did, good on them. I mean, when we become media moguls, and we're on our way...
Oh, God.
I mean, let's face it.
This is how they all start, right? I mean, in a bar in Deckerville.
If we had $1 for every podcast that started in Deckerville at the bar here, we'd have one more dollar than we currently have.
I don't currently know anybody that does a podcast in Deckerville besides us. Yeah. We definitely have the most episodes of everybody, I would think. Yeah. What does Cindy have us to say? I don't know. That's a curly right there. Oh. I'm sorry. It's a brown curly hair that looks very pubescent.
Really big long pube.
It kind of looks like it, but what is? Somebody must have had their junk up on the bar at some point.
That or does anybody in here have really crazy eyebrows? That could be
knows?
That. That could be that.
I just walked out. I just came back into the bar.
All right.
So.
I'm gonna get rid of that hair, but I'm gonna keep that note for the archives for the podcast.
It was in front of me.
I'm sorry.
I let my dog out. I came back and
it wasn't in your drink, at least.
No, thank God.
It does look like a pubic hair. Thanks for sharing.
Sharing is caring.
That makes me feel so much better about life.
Caring, definitely.
Hopefully, they at least use Pert Plus on that thing or something.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to dump that on the floor.
Especially if it's a pube. If it's a pube, you got to shave.
Yeah. Get rid of that shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The things you find in Deckerville.
But if it was a pube, there would be like a white follicle.
I think this is some. I don't know. There's some serious analyzation of this.
Wouldn't there be
some serious sleuthing.
A white thing at the end.
I don't know. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to think about it right now.
I'm gonna go throw it in the
That's a good idea. Yeah, throw it in the garbage where it belongs. Thanks for sharing, though. Happy that was on the bar.
Appreciate that, don't you?
Certainly appreciate it, yeah.
Yes. That.
Yeah, sure. It's a trash can. Don't shit in it. Just throw the pubic hair in there.
Oddly enough,
I do want the note.
That's the second worst thing we talk about going into a trash can on this show.
Oddly enough,
guys.
thank you. Love you, too. So anyway, yeah. We're at the Silver Tavern, Deckerville, I guess. That was weird. A weird find, but things were pretty wild up here Saturday night, though. And those girls were wearing short skirts.
And we let her throw that away. Maybe we saved the wrong memento.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why you have to come join us sometime, because you miss these little side shows.
Now we're analyzing everybody's pubic hair styles in the bar.
I'm waiting for everybody to just drop them and be like, all right, whose was it?
Just do Grizzly Adams.
I kind of anticipate someone will be like, all right, everybody show their pubes, and someone will start rolling up a pant leg.
This podcast has gone off the rails. I love it.
I've not shaved since J.R. Jupiter was a young boy.
My friend is a dick, and here's why. He has pubic dreadlocks.
Oh.
I see you downstairs dreadlocks.
The downtown dreads.
Oh, no.
So, other than random pubic hairs, what else is going on?
Well, hold on 1 second. Yep. Okay, yep. Sorry, they're in my ear. From the network. J.R. Jupiter wants to file a report.
Well, I think we take the rare opportunity to
should we allow
let him go? Yes. JR, can you hear us? Are you coming in?
J.R. Jupiter here.
Fantastic. Go ahead, JR.
J.R. Jupiter coming to you live from Slovenia. The year is 3342 BC. It is the early Bronze Age. I am here with Bogdan and Ignac. They're the names they gave me. That's all I can understand. Bogdan and Ignac are here basically inventing the wheel today. The wheel has been around, but it's been used. You like what I did there? It's been used mainly for clay pottery purposes, but today these two, Bogdan and Ignac, I want to call them morons because they carve everything into clay tablets to communicate. Not very good with words. They have gone and fashioned themselves a couple of wheels about 28 7/8 inches in diameter from an ash tree. Ash, that's A-S-H, not ass. I was mistaken earlier. They did not appreciate the joke. They didn't know what the word ass meant anyway. J.R. Jupiter says, what are you boys going to do now? They are barley farmers. They farm barley. That's what they do. They decided they're tired of carrying this shit. They have constructed an axle that's about 49 inches long, and lo and behold, they've arrived at, let's put a wheel on each end of this axle and put a few boards on the top. They have created a chariot for the first time ever here in 3342 BC in Slovenia. Bogdan and Ignac have done it. They've invented the wheel.
Yeah, Jupiter, this is S.A. Saturn back here in the studios. Can you give us a quick roundup of exactly how much barley are they able to haul with such a device that they have created?
They are now able to haul at least 75 to 125 pounds of barley at a clip.
Oh, that is very good. Thank you for sharing that. We'll go back to you in the field, J.R. Jupiter.
J.R. Jupiter here reporting, not wanting to stick his nose in their business, but I said, had you made the axle a little bit thicker, you probably could have gotten 300 pounds of barley on there, but they'll figure that out on their own. Thank you, Bogdan and Ignac.
Thank you, J.R. Jupiter. We'll go back to the studio now for the P&A Podcast Express in local time.
Well, that was...
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
That was fascinating.
That was.
I didn't realize he could go back to BC.
That's pretty fantastic.
3342 BC.
I wish we would have asked him for the spelling of those names, but
Bogdan,
I'm pretty sure it was just...
From what I heard, it was Bogdan and Ignac?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just a series of, and
you
clicks,
know J.R. Jupiter does his homework. So everything he said was historically accurate.
Yes. Barley farmers back in the
Slovenia.
Yeah, Slovenia. Which
he even took the time to measure out the dimensions of the axles and the axle and the wheels they created.
Yeah, I appreciate that he estimated the amount of barley that they could haul.
Hold on 1 second. Nope. J.R. Jupiter's said he was remiss that he needed to mention that the axle was made out of oak.
Oh, so an oaken axle.
He said that he couldn't reconnect to say that himself, but he asked you to pass it along, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll get yelled at later by JR, I know.
Yeah, he does like the production value he adds to the show.
He's very specific, and everything JR does is for a reason. He does not mess around. He knows how things should be.
Yes. He's the consummate professional.
Yeah. So
we do appreciate that in-depth report.
So J.R. Jupiter took us back to the invention of the wheel for chariot purposes.
Yes.
That's fucking wild, man.
And you got to wonder how many years is it going to be until four wheels are used for stability purposes.
I don't know. Maybe that's a future J.R. Jupiter report.
It could be. That'd be interesting.
He went back to the early Bronze Age, for Christ's sake.
That's nice.
That was enthralling broadcasting right there.
And I'm glad he survived it.
Yeah.
Because
he seemed to be having... maybe we can ask him, like, did he go out and have some mead with Bogdan and Ignac, perhaps? Maybe he broke bread and had a few drinks with him, I hope.
He may have.
Yeah.
He probably had bread and bread mead.
Yeah.
Which is terrible, by the way.
That was exciting, though.
That was exciting.
That gave me goosebumps.
Well, just, the first-hand account of hearing him talk about the early Bronze Age.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And the use of a wheel instead of, I get it, and I have read this before, and JR will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the wheel had been in existence for a while before that, and they decided to use it for your typical pottery, like as a pottery wheel.
Yes.
And they decided it would roll for purposes, and Bogdan and Ignac cracked the code, man. Look at them.
What's amazing is...
they're barley farmers, and necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes. And I wonder what they thought of seeing someone his age, because at 49 years old, he may have been the oldest man on the planet at that point.
Yeah.
Life expectancy is not what it is now.
We need to ask JR the question of how old were these young individuals. I'm sure he meant to include that in his report, but it was fucking exciting to see. I bet you it is one of the biggest moments in history.
Well, I'm sure that he's going to include a written report eventually for that. But,
here's the beauty. This is the beauty of what J.R. Jupiter does. He travels time, and much like in Back to the Future, all of a sudden their ages just magically appeared on my sheet of paper that I had written down here, because he was able to do it through time. So he said, Bogdan is approximately 14 and Ignac is about 13.
Nice.
He says with the life expectancy, they only plan to live another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And, the one thing that the wheel also did was it created the unshittable hole.
Yes, the unshittable
because they were
hole.
able to cover the holes that they shit in with the wheel.
Oh, here's another note. He just transcribed he's upset that I read the part about the axle being oak.
Well,
you're
just out of control. You're out of control.
I'll shed him an extra $5. We're paying him $35 a week, which is $666 in 1939. We'll flip him another $5, so that's like another $150 for him in his time.
Maybe when we get the whole Steve Gutenberg day going, we can have him come in for an interview, and that will make up for some of it too.
This is fascinating, this time travel stuff. I've got this little Post-it note because I was keeping notes while he was talking, because that's what a good reporter should do.
No, here's what has to happen.
Yeah.
He has to go back in time to the 80s on a police academy set, interview Steve Gutenberg, and then when we meet Steve Gutenberg, we can be like, our friend J.R. Jupiter. He's going to be like, wow, mind blown.
And Steve Gutenberg will be 35 years older, and J.R. Jupiter will look exactly the same.
Yeah. And then he'll be like, I'm going to pay you guys for the day.
That's right.
Thank you. That's going to be awesome.
So J.R. Jupiter's got it. J.R. has been after me a little bit, though, because apparently time travel is a little taxing physically on the body. So he says you got to go through all those little... it's not like in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where you're in a goddamn phone booth. He says you're going through all these tubes, but you're raw dogging it, so you're feeling all these protons and neutrons and electrons just flying by you at lightning speed.
He said it's like washing your junk with a pumice stone is how he described it to me.
Yes.
So, yeah. just scrubbing the hell out of your junk with a pumice stone.
He says it takes him anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour to recover after every jump.
Oh, shit!
You know, that was a good interaction we had with JR on Saturday night. We learned so much because we took it for granted. I did. I thought, oh, he just hops in his fucking fancy time machine. He's there and unscathed. And
what I appreciated was all the hotties that got off the bus. Mm-hmm. He went outside real quick, jumped forward in time, and he was coming back, and he's like, oh, that one gets fat, that one's a whore.
He gave us a full report on that.
Yeah.
Wasn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that one gets fat, that one's a whore, that one's, looks exactly the same.
This one is rich, this one's, he gave us all,
meth head.
It was nice he could do that. God, it's good to have J.R. Jupiter in your corner.
Yeah, everybody needs one.
Yeah.
But you can't have ours.
Probably one of the most brilliant additions to this show since its inception.
Yeah.
J.R. Jupiter as a correspondent.
Since this.
Yeah. But thank you, JR, for that report, and thank you for the postscript notes that you sent me. I appreciate that.
I like the fact that he's able to post-edit.
Yes.
The whole
so
thing.
JR's done more editing than we've ever done for this show.
Yeah. In the process of the show, he's editing.
I might work on my J.R. Jupiter might be one of my new heroes. I might work on my impression. Do you think I should work on my J.R. Jupiter impression?
You won't get it.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think you're not capable.
I don't have that range.
It's the shape of your mouth.
Yeah. It's the jaws.
Yeah. He's very trim.
Yeah.
You're not very trim.
No.
He doesn't have a beard. He's clean shaven. You're very not clean shaven.
Yeah.
He's above average intelligence. You not so much.
He works out in one of those old-timey gyms with, like, a jump rope and a medicine ball. So he's fit.
Well, did you notice last Saturday when he almost got into a fight with somebody and it was like that old-timey boxy stance?
He did. Well, and that's he said to the guy, and I shit you not, I mean, this is one of the most Clint Eastwood things you could possibly say. He said in his J.R. Jupiter voice, I fancy myself a pugilist.
Yes. Yeah. It was, but I mean, it gave me chills.
Oh, I know, right?
And the old-timey boxing, he took his shirt off. He was wearing a pair of pants that were tied up tied up around the waist,
but only elastic, right?
Yeah, and it only came down to just below the knee,
but still looked great. And I fancy myself a pugilist, and the guy didn't know what to do with that information, especially that stance.
Yeah, it was something to be seen. And the guy just backed down. I mean, who would?
I would have too.
You see a guy with just raw animal strength like that, you're gonna just fold. You're gonna just fold.
Finish him.
Exactly. I wouldn't fuck with JR.
No. So what else has been going on?
Other than thinking about how to be better on the podcast and still being terrible, same stuff, working a lot.
Anything in the news that you could give a shit less about?
Trying to think.
I'm going to try and give Dogecoin the podcast bump.
Okay, do it.
So I quite some time ago, I invested in Dogecoin at a very low amount. Now it's climbing rapidly, but there's still time to get in.
He said if it goes to if it eclipses and goes past the Bovosphere into space, you're going to buy us a studio.
Yeah, and oddly enough, it was J.R. Jupiter that told me should invest in this crypto.
It was J.R. Jupiter, and you know what? Here's the thing. I know J.R. likes you so much more than me because, well, I mean, let's face it. I try to do an impression very nice. And you're the consummate professional in his mind, so he didn't give me that tip.
No. He kind of told me not to share it with you until I shared it with everybody else. And it's not that he doesn't like you; he just doesn't respect you.
That's purely it. That's 100%. Thank you for saying that out loud because we were all thinking it.
Yeah, everybody knew it. He just does not have a shred of respect for you or your abilities as a broadcaster.
He thinks I'm a hack. Well, the guy is, but he's legendary. He transcends time and space as far as being a legend.
Yeah. It was the great Ernie Harwell that once said, I hope someday to be at the level of J.R. Jupiter.
No doubt.
And you and I, my friend, we are not.
We are not.
I'm way closer.
That's why we're so happy to have him. Yeah, you are, to be part of the show. He's a professional. He is thorough. He just does everything the way by the book that you should. He has journalistic integrity.
Yes.
Fuck, man.
All right. Well, we've praised him enough.
Enough. You know what, JR? I fancy myself a pugilist, too, so let's have a boxing match.
If we keep praising him, his head will swell so much it won't just be his junk rubbing against the pumice
He won't
stone.
be able to travel through time.
No, it'll be he will lack the ability to travel.
Then
through
he'll
time.
have to just give us boring-ass reports from 1939.
Yeah. There's a kid on the corner with a newspaper.
You might do a better JR Jupiter than I do.
I do.
God damn it.
Yeah, you suck. On so many levels.
Holy shit, here's another note from JR. I agree with Adam. What the fuck?
Yeah, what's amazing to
He
me
even
is
sent me that audio clip.
he listens on one of those record players with the big horn.
I know. Like the RCA one with the dog turning its head. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
He says he's home already. What the fuck? I'm not even home yet.
Yeah, he's home before we are. Son of a bitch.
All right, well, let's sign this shit off. And
Yeah, are we at that time?
I think so. We got to be at 20-some minutes by now, right?
Oh, yeah, we are. I'm looking at the wrong thing for the time. What the hell's wrong with me?
We changed things up a little bit.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So, thanks for listening. PNA Podcast Express at gmail.com. That's Painful Nut Allergy Podcast Express at gmail.com. Or Pineapple Nipple Arsehole at gmail.com. On behalf of JR Jupiter, he's Adam Filkins. I'm Phil Nickel. Make good choices.